flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those of you so inclined, I invite you to spend a moment in silent reflection. Thank you. Let the minutes reflect the entire board is present. I need an approval of the agenda. We would add one item to the agenda items.
Well, we're doing new business.
Oh, under new business? Okay. Which may not.
No.
For designation of maybe just changing titles or specific titles for financial purposes.
Yes.
Any other additions or changes to the agenda? If not, I need a motion and a second, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
A motion, could I get a second?
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, approval of the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the study and work session and the regular meeting of December 10th.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as stated and leave it at that.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve both sets of minutes from the December 10th meeting. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Draw your attention to section 10 in your books, the bills payable. If you've had a moment for questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to pay those.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak on that.
Go ahead, Bob.
I did not have a chance to cruise this whole section. I see some anomalies again. I've talked to Jim about trying to get the packets to me in a different direction or something, but just when I got to the meeting today, sat down and opened the book, I see here JM Solutions domain renewal, $205. Let me inform the board that domains do not cost anywhere near this. Now, I don't know what all they're charging for, but for instance, I just renewed a domain last week. My standard renewal, I own 6 to 8 domains, and they're $17.98 to renewal once a year. And I get even better rates when I renew for 3 years handwriting on certain domains. So this is totally out of line for a domain renewal.
Anybody, can you speak to the other one?
I'm sorry, what's it under?
J&M Solutions.
I probably didn't even see that.
And they've got hosting here as well. So let's assume that they're adding the hosting to it. Hosting will cost you about $50 a year. So we're still way under these numbers. So if they have combined hosting with renewal, it's still way off.
Well,
So
I can
my
call.
hosting is as
I can
little as
call.
35.
I can call and get information on it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's something that, you know, it's been in place for the golf course, and then we gotta start checking things and, you know, as for that, I'm not a computer whiz, and I don't
Well,
know.
I happen to know these because I own so many domains and I host myself.
And what I'll do is I'll check and see what exactly they are offering for that, and what coverages, whatever.
Do we have more than one domain?
Yeah, we renewed ours probably about 6 months ago.
So
Is it with
This one's for the golf course.
This one's for the golf course.
Yeah.
that is just one.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're really out of line.
Well, and the thing is that's what I'm saying. I'm not a computer expert and I don't know. So this is something that I'll have to research and get into it and figure out where we can
Mr.
cut
Chairman,
costs in.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the bills payable less line item 33,152.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we pay the bills with the exception of line item 33152. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report.
If you look under, right after the bills payable, I ran out of tabs. You have a posted there dividing your financials to, for November. You should also have the water pipe report there, either set in front of you or it is put in your book. The stamp pipe, I'm sorry. The bulk sales.
It is, just so you know, everybody knows, it is on the schedule for next week would be the calibration, check calibration, so. But from what I saw, it wasn't.
Actually, we're,
It was loose in March.
So could we wind up in December? 25 and 27, yeah, we do need a calibration check on those. We got 270 over.
Yeah, that's what that's what I said. I have it on the agenda or on the schedule for check calibration.
Thank you. Other thoughts or comments on the financial report?
if you look at it, I believe we're in a lot better shape than last year. We're on the positive side in a lot of areas. A lot of that is due to Yvonne and supervisors trying to stay budget. We did have a lot of expenses in December though, too, that we tried to keep it down through October, November, so that way we had an idea in December what is our shopping list, our critical things that we're gonna need for the next year, which we bought chemicals and stuff to get us through January and hopefully February in the water plant. So this is our lean part of the year, is January and February, before we start getting taxes in and getting the renewals for water revenue coming in. So that's one of the reasons why you might see that, yeah, we have 300,000 and by the time we get by December, we'll be down probably at 100.
So this is through November.
Yeah.
So between November of 2019 and November of 2018, we have a positive change in cash flow of almost $400,000.
Yes.
Yes. Doesn't mean it's all cash in the bank,
No,
it's
I
just the
understand.
comparison year over year net income overall.
I'd say that's pretty good.
And I also think, if you look at the golf course net, we're upside down $1,600 in November.
Now, does that November reflect the, what was it, $16,000 or $20,000
CTF funds.
CTF fund infusion?
Yeah.
Well, but it would have last year too, I think, right?
No, it wasn't in there last year. So we discussed that with the auditors and what steps we need to take and have it as a pass-through through our CTF fund and then go back to the golf course. And he was okay with the way that we did it. So let me see if it's in there. Is it under probably miscellaneous?
Yeah, miscellaneous. Page 14.
Yes, if you look at monthly actual column, it's the third number down, 17,000. It's actually 17,000. There was a little bit, $98.50.
So,
It's in there.
the upside down number is magnified by 16 theoretically even though we got that infusion from outside. That was more of a grant or a gift that was added to lower that number. Even though that is a good number, I'm just saying, we have to factor in that if, had we had not gotten that 16, that would be 16 on top of the number you just gave us.
So instead of
Well-
down 80, we'd be down 18.
Yes.
And it would be a question of whether we could spend that money if we don't have it.
Right.
So we may not even have that expense.
Because that was a contract on,
Yeah.
a lease contract on, mowers that were bought 4 years ago, or at least 4 years ago. Because we're within our last
Still really,
year and a half lease on it.
really a positive job since a year ago. In fact, with that advanced cash flow, maybe we need to go back to that part about the compensation for the board. All right, any other questions on the finances? Okay, operational report.
Operational reports, I got, Parks and Rec report, basketball registrations, done and practices started, games will begin Friday in February. We have over 100 participants from Rye, Colorado City and Viola. In a joint effort between VFC, Parks and Rec, we have installed 4 doggy bag stations at Lake Beckwith. We hope that this will encourage people to clean up after the dogs and keep the lake walking path clear. We have had a couple of different issues with furnaces in the rec center, but everything has been fixed as of now. I know Josh has been looking out. We're also looking out within our campground, possibly putting in 2 more electric sites to improve it within the coming year, maybe hopefully by April, if it's possible. With the revenue that we're generating, we need to start making some upgrades within it. Holly Dot, the maintenance side of the report, December through January managers report, 18 LED retrofit lamps installed in the maintenance shop, and replaced the T12 lights. I walked in there the other day. At least you can see it's not like walking into a dungeon. It's nice. So that was help of the friends of Holly Dot. I'd like to thank them. Real bent knife sharpening for 2020, 44 of 58 reels completed, continuing with final reels, continuing annual maintenance to all equipment, monitoring course snow conditions and preparing it to be ready to play once snow is lifted. We did, last year we bought bent knives in March, and so actually some of the stuff that was bought, we ended up buying at the end of December, since we were in such good shape. That way, it was almost like a double expense for that year, for last year. But it's better to try and get on a regular program as getting the stuff that we need at the end of the year, and that way he has the 2 months or whatever to work on the equipment instead of waiting until February or March to order it, and we're already hurting our budget. Monitoring quarter, that's with that. Golf shop activities report. I'd like to inform that Phil would stand up. He is going to be our new pro at Holly Dot. He has taken over the position of Prim. He is renting out the pro shop to sell, and we're getting an agreement registered together to set all the parameters on it.
I have a question.
Sure.
Are you taking over as pro or as manager? Are you going to be a pro? Are you a pro?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm just wanting
Yes.
clarification.
It's going to be pro and manager.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get a
He's
clarification.
both. It's his last.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, as numbers for December of last year, you had 118 rounds played. 2019 November rounds was 201. This year for revenues in December, you had about a $2,000 difference, or $1,500. Oh no, I take that back. The $2,500 difference. we had $2,273 for 2018, and this month we have $4,710. We had some good weeks. We had the first 2 weeks of December that were really nice warm weather, and that helped. Yeah. Both the increases in rounds and revenues for December. Completed washing details of golf carts. Every cart is running at this time. Revenue was up over 30,000 in 2019 over 2018, which does not include 17 in conservation trust funds. Expenses were kept down in 2018, and overall was a successful year. That's what I have, Donnie.
Well, we covered quite a bit of what we've done at the water plant, filters and that side of things. We just completed, in fact, today the auditors were in for their spot check of our inventories. My guys have been working pretty diligently in and amongst the holidays to get our water, sewer inventory, as well as golf course, pro shop, and water plants, chemicals. All that was finalized today with their audits. I just have a couple minor clerical things that they asked that I would change on their inventory form, so that'll be completed tomorrow and sent back to them. As far as our public works side of things, we don't talk about too many things when things are good, but we've had a decent 30 days in the public works side of things out in the field. Nothing's gonna have to be dug up. So that has given us a chance to work on the inventory, as well as some other maintenance items, tank 1, doghouse, some of the financials that you guys approved, bills payable, reflect some of those upgrades that we've made to some of these maintenance items that we typically try to deal with this time of year. Going forward, we're looking at some additional maintenance items as the weather inhibits some of the bigger projects that we'd like to tackle. But for the most part, it's been fairly quiet outside the water plant.
All right. Anything else? Any other questions on the operational review? Okay. Story time, statement of conduct and demeanor. In order for the business of the board to be conducted in the most effective and expeditious manner, it is necessary that all persons present maintain a demeanor of civility toward the board, staff, and each other. Conduct that appears threatening or aggressive will not be tolerated. Shouting, speaking out of order, or the use of offensive gestures similarly are not acceptable. Such behavior shall constitute the forfeiture of your right to remain in attendance and may, as a point of order brought to the board's attention by council or any board member, including the chairperson, result in your being asked to leave the meeting by the chairperson, or, upon your refusal, being escorted out of the meeting by the proper authority. Mr. Ellis would like to speak to us tonight.
Good to hear everybody. See you, maybe hear me.
That'd be great.
Thank you for letting me speak. I've touched on a little bit of what my concerns are in the work session. When I've gone through and looked at some of the water management engineering reports and everything on systems such as ours, which are over 50 years old, I found that in all of those reports, leakage contributed to approximately 70% of the water loss. Not meter use or any other use, leakage. We have continually looked at meters. I have no doubt we need meters. I have no doubt that they may save a little bit of water, but they're not going to change the difference from 50%. All those reports also indicated that systems like ours lost 50% of their water. So we're right on track to what we should be. That is an indication to me that trying to do this band-aid fix with a meter here and a hole there and a valve there isn't going to work. What needs to happen is a comprehensive study by the board, comprehensive decision on how to replace this system. It's already past its useful life, and to continue to dig a hole and put in a meter or put in a valve is not going to fix your system. All it's going to tell you is your system's failing. We already know that. So I would like to see more effort put in how we're going to change the system rather than how we're going to find leaks. We know it's leaking. Why look for leaks? Why not pick a section, replace that section, instead of buying valves and meters? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me for what we've been doing, what we've been discussing. Because it's not going to change the fact that if you put a vault meter here and a vault meter there a mile away, it's not going to change the fact that that pipeline in between are 75 years old and it's leaking. At every joint, at every place, and probably in between where every rock pierced it over the years, it is leaking. And it's subterranean leaking will not come to the surface. You will not see it in every one of these reports I've read. Anyway, that's what I would like to see start working towards. Not simply the efforts to, I would call it, yeah, it's a Band-Aid, it's done. That's going to, so yes, community's going to have it's going to be a big bill. But why put $1 million into doing this, this, and this? Why not pick a section, an area, and replace that section and area? Why not have a 10-year plan to do that? 5-year plan, a 15-year plan? There isn't one of those here. Never has been. And I've discussed that with previous boards as well. Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. Agenda items, James.
Agenda items, resolution 1/2020, posting places for meetings, as reviewed. The posting places will be here, county courthouse, and on our website.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution 01-2020, a resolution of the Board of Directors of Colorado City Metropolitan District, Colorado City, Colorado, designated posting places within the district and county for public notice of meetings of the Board of Directors.
I have a motion to accept resolution 01/2020. Could I get a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next, resolution 2020, setting meeting dates. As stated, there is a addendum to that resolution with all the dates that are the second and last Tuesday of every month.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2-2020, resolution to set meeting dates for 2020 and to approve director compensation for meetings, including the addendum.
I have a motion. Could I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor of the resolution 2/2020 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next, resolution 3/2020, setting 2020 election.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept resolution 3-2020, resolution of Colorado City Metropolitan District concerning May 5th, 2020 election.
I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that the board accept resolution 3/2020, setting the 2020 election. Any discussion?
I got something to add to that. I know the next election, they are doing away with May elections. They are going to do it now in a regular election cycle in November. So this might be the last time that we'd have to set as a DEO and things like that, because I think it will fall in with your regular elections in November. Is that with these nominees that are coming up, it's only a 3-year term, because with that cycle, it will come in November, that's where you're.
So a 3.5 year.
Yeah, it's not going to be the full 4-year term. Because I know when I went to SDA and even Harry in the meeting, I think you went, it just lighted, brought that up, that the assessors and the clerks and stuff were having problems with having that set in May. And it was usually right after an election, so then they had to get ready for another election, so they want to kind of cycle them all together.
So you get put 48 months on your resume, but only have to serve 42.
There you go.
Chairman, I'd like to speak on that.
Go ahead.
I don't know what he's talked about there, but I do know our rules and regulations. And, we set these, not the state. So we need to look into that because that's our prerogative on when these elections are posted. We have the ability to run our own elections under our charters.
Okay, I don't see any reason we can't.
I'm just
go
saying,
along with
I'm
this.
bringing that up as, that's why on the nomination form, it is a 3-year term. If you look at it.
Any other discussion, questions?
Before we change the nomination form, I would consider the rules and regulations in place as a metropolitan district, and those are binding.
Okay, but I think also it is a change within the state.
I understand the state may change something, but if they've changed it, if we change it without changing our rules and regulations, we're then in trouble for violating our own.
We'll have to revise our resolution, our rules and regs. Any other comments? See, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah,
I have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I have resolution 4/2020 appointing a DEO.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 4/2020, resolution appointing a designated election official and authorizing designated election official to cancel election.
It's been moved, we accept resolution 4/2020. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, when we get to new business, I'd like to add the point that we need the ability to redo this if we get another person interested in the DEO position to take the load off of James and be a little more transparent. But that's not for this. We need to approve this or not approve this. I'm doing something separately there under new business.
Okay, other comments? The only thought I have is if we're going to mess with it, we're going to mess with it now.
Yeah,
Because
we won't have time to mess with it.
Because this is a pre-written, we can't just adjust the verbiage here and sign it tonight. Whereas the other one is not even effective unless we get something.
And there is a time.
You see what I'm saying? There's a time frame here we're dealing with. So I would rather accept it as stated and then have a backup plan.
Okay, other discussion? All in favor of resolution 4/2020 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next, Architectural Advisory Committee. Like I said, I have Bob Smith, who is interested. Right now, at the present time, we have 2 members on the committee, and we're welcome to accept whoever else that would like to come in and present
Is 3 the
minimum.
Yeah.
So this way we can get started on it and moving forward. I know Mr. Bird has gotten covenants lined out, and we're looking at probably the 1st of March to get the original covenants in here, so that way we have proper documentation to get they can move on.
I'm thinking March.
The reason for the delay is that the county is digitizing all their microfilm. That has been done, but it isn't scheduled to be posted until March 1. When it's online, then we can easily pull that up. Otherwise, it's a real difficult process and expensive.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to accept Mr. Bob Smith as appointment to the, Architectural Review Committee.
Okay, I have a motion to accept Bob Smith's application for architectural committee. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and second, discussion.
I'd just like to add that I would really like to see him show up to the meeting. I realize that he probably had something.
Yeah, it was something, and he said that he would be here.
He will be here next meeting.
Yeah, and I'm gonna probably vote no, just as I did on Mr. Janetta for that reason. I think it's important that people are here if they're interested.
I love to see that people are volunteering.
Absolutely.
I just, if they're gonna volunteer, let's do it right. Let's have our heart and soul in it. Let's do it.
Other thoughts, comments?
The reason that Mr. Smith is not here was why?
He had to, something happened down in Phoenix that he had to go down there for family. That's what he told me.
Would it hurt by him not being, if we tabled that one until the next board meeting, would that hurt going ahead with what we're doing in architectural committee or not?
It wouldn't hurt nothing.
I don't think
So
so.
I think we'll table it.
I think maybe we just table one.
Okay, right now, we have a
Oh, you have a
motion
motion.
and a second on the, if that's the desire of the board. Bob, did you make the motion?
I did.
Bob can either amend his motion, or we can vote on his motion, and if the motion passes, we're done. If it doesn't pass, then we can introduce a new motion. How do you feel about amending that, Bob?
I would rather just vote on, this gentleman. I see no obstacles. I've read this resume. It looks great. This is, a position we put in checks and balances to, so I'm comfortable.
Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion to accept Bob Smith for the architectural committee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2.
He might not come back for his own.
We'll consider that a resignation.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Porter property. Like I said, his property is adjoining Greenbelt. His driveway is partially in Greenbelt, partially on his property. I believe the best solution would be this, is if he would pay for a survey and a legal, go to a lawyer and have a legal easement set up and bring it back to the board for approval. That would be the best option as to the board.
And you're ready to do that, correct? Mr.
Absolutely,
Porter?
sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to, ask Mr. Porter to bring us the survey and legal documentation to create a legal easement to his property.
I have a motion on the floor. Can I get a second? Second. I have a motion and second. Any discussion? He could just drive a motorcycle. Okay, if no further discussion, all in favor of the motion on the floor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you again for being here, Mr. Porter. And we'd like to invite you back.
Okay, next on the agenda is land sale, unit 29, lots 385 and 388.
I make a motion that we sell lots 29, unit 29, lots 385, 388 for $3,000 for both of them.
Okay, I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Just-
like to amend that motion.
We have to follow through with the original motion. I have a motion on the floor to sell the combined lots for $3,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Bob, what was your thought?
I'd like to amend the motion, but, just if we're gonna move into discussion, I'm not locked in on the 3,000 per lot. However, we know we have 2,500 in, or whatever it is. The gentleman correctly stated that they were unbuildable lots. They are no longer unbuildable lots, and they are of value to him. They are of value to other people because of the resolutions this board had passed. So our minimum price was the $2,500. I agree, like Harry stated, 3,000, but I think we should be just a little more than that, and I had in mind about $3,750 for the pair.
Okay, other comments? And then I'll address your critic.
So what he's doing, the property he has now is how many acres?
1.4, he said.
And that, you cannot put a septic on 1.4.
Yes,
you
you
can.
can.
Yes, you can.
He's still, he can, his is
Do it
still
on
built.
Yeah, but looking at that property, I mean, I went out and looked at those properties.
In my discussions with him, I think the main driving, my take on what my conversation with him was, the main driving force for him to try and pick up them other lots and expand a little further to the north would then make sense for him to go ahead and build that road all the way up in and have access on a city maintained road versus the 1.3 acre piece. He would in turn have to build a driveway up. It's fairly steep if you've seen it.
Yeah.
I think he's wanting to, and I don't know if that's any consideration to take, that he is going to pay to put a road in there and make the other lots accessible.
Because the other lots will become accessible since he's made.
Once he's paying to put that road in, yes.
One of the other aspects that, talking with him, also that 1.4 acre, since it is an equestrian area, he'd like to keep that for his horses and put his house on the other lots.
On a residential.
Yeah. So that way it gives him more room and access with his horses.
Did I understand it right that there's two other lots between these two lots?
That he's still
So-
gotta try to snag up.
Yeah, so basically what he's buying right now is a maybe.
No, I think they're, no, the lots are
Those sort of
connected.
join
So-
to his existing 1.3
So
Right.
or
his
whatever.
is
So-
here and it's here and here, but there's two here.
He'd like more lots, I think, for the horses, he'd like to have more property for the horses.
So he can.
I think he'd want to put the house closer to the horse property rather than further away. Just from what I can, yeah.
Can I ask what these covenants say these two lots are? Or he wanted to buy two lots to turn it into equestrian or agriculture, and I don't believe that's what they are.
No. The 1.4 that he already owns is the equestrian piece, and he'd like to be able to not
How
put
is,
the residents on that.
and how is he gonna do that?
What do you mean?
Unless he abrogates the lot lines, he's not gonna be able to do that.
Right, so if he's
So
gonna
what-
vacate those lines.
And what is the zone, what are they gonna be by covenant?
He's asking is that, does
So
that
those two
turn those
lots, he
two
couldn't
into
make, he can't make
agriculture?
those ag, so he would
But
have
if
an
you
ag
make it into
piece.
one lot, it has to be one
Well,
zone.
so then he's,
Yeah. Now you're a covenant violation.
If he was to vacate the lot lines, it would be a covenant violation.
Correct.
If he was to vacate them between all the properties, but I don't think that's what he's trying to do.
no, I don't think he is.
I
There
think
is a
he's,
property.
I think he's trying to combine the two, that if we sell them,
So he could have a
so he can have a separate place for his residence, and then the 1.4 that he has,
would be his.
and then he wants to get those other two, so that he's got enough property to put a septic, correct?
Correct.
That's what he's trying to do. That's
Correct.
what he's planning,
Yes.
if I was understanding what he was saying.
Okay, now back to my question. What's he gonna do with the lot he owns? Can't have horses on it unless you got a house.
Unless he,
It's gotta have a house.
Correct.
unless he
Gotta have a
gets
house.
a lot.
And that's
Just
the
like
issue.
business lots. You can't do anything on them until you put a business on them. So the issue before us as a board is if we are willing to sell the lots to him. It would probably be a good thing if we would mention these concerns.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there as far as what we're doing tonight, is it?
No, you're correct.
Can I ask my question again? What are the covenants on those two lots?
I'll have to look them up. I don't know them right off the top.
Didn't he say they're R4?
He did mention an R, I can't remember.
I don't believe it was R twenty, it was,
I'm
I
pretty
believe there
sure
are three.
I'll have to look.
But
at it.
that'd be
But
his issue, probably.
Yeah,
No,
that's.
yes, but I do think it's.
And I'll mention it to him
Good for us.
after I
Are
look
you
at
gonna
it and
enforce the
see
covenants or
what
not?
exactly.
but he could buy those lots separate from the equestrian and
Bill, what,
build a house on it.
what do you say about we're gonna enforce the covenants or not?
Well, if you're gonna enforce the covenant, you can't run around changing what the
We're
covenants
not
say.
changing anything.
Yeah, you
We're
are.
voting whether we were gonna sell 2 pieces of property to a gentleman who wants to buy.
And you're not saying that this man here is gonna be on your architect's control board, right, Billy?
I would
Will you
suggest,
listen to me, sir? If that issue comes up, it's gonna come right back to you.
yes,
Because
we will,
if it comes to him and somebody complains, then he has to file a complaint to you, then you have to deal with it. So
Yes,
why
sir.
don't you just deal with it now?
that's what I said, if you had been listening to me.
I was listening.
I said that I think we should make him aware of that possibility, but right now, nobody here knows exactly what it is.
What his
We
plans
need
are.
to find out, and if we agree to sell it to him for whatever price, yes, I think we have every responsibility under the sun, even if we weren't enforcing covenants, to tell him what the covenants are. But nobody here knows, so then it becomes, we're going to either sell or not sell that property. But I do think if it's gonna cause him a problem, we should let him know when we return our
Our
offer
counter.
too.
We're counter offering what he came in with a figure.
Yeah.
So I
No,
just-
I'm not trying to dodge the covenants at all. I can't hardly wait till we're enforcing them.
Well, you should have been for years.
I call the question.
Okay, so Harry, I'm gonna go back to what Bob asked. Are you willing to amend your motion to change the price from 3,000 for both lots to 3,750?
That's what, $1,800 a lot, 18.
Yeah, just a little over 18.
I'll go 35.
I would accept.
Okay, and who seconded it? Neil, did you? Does 3,500 sound okay to you?
I guess we're quibbling about $500.
So,
You know,
yea or nay?
no,
Okay.
I'll second Harry's.
Okay, so we have Harry's motion on the floor at $3,500. Neil's withdrawing his second. Bob is made to second it. Discussion.
well, again, we're quibbling about $500. The value to us to sell this property, I agree, that we need to establish value on the property that we own. But we need also to get it done.
Other discussion?
Well, and the only thing that I would add to that though is that we do have a responsibility as being elected officials in Colorado City that we are, I agree it's only $500, but at the same time, I wanna make sure that we're doing everybody in Colorado City, we're doing them justice.
As well as the prospective purchaser.
Yes, I agree, but to be honest with you, our responsibilities are to Colorado City. So, that would all I put into that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to allow the purchase of unit 29 lots 385 and 388 for $3,750. $3,500, I'm sorry.
And he offered what? He offered
1,750.
Yeah.
Total.
So it's basically almost doubling.
Yeah.
It'd be 1,750.
And it's still well below our 3 each, so we're good.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Nothing under attorney's reports, old business, water meters. Like I said, what I was requesting is for a PO for $290,000, which is not going to be used until we buy meters, and we would be doing it in phases. The The first phase would cost $160,000.
Mr. Chairman, I move to table this agenda item for more information.
Can you elaborate on that?
We need to know more about the leakage. We don't need meters at this time.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to table
By
purchase of water meters. Do I have a second? The motion dies for lack of a second. Other discussion, thoughts? What do we want to do with this?
You know, you look at the expenses we're bringing up, and we're talking about the maintenance. We only have 7 employees. If we're spending 3 days or 2 days a month reading meters with 3-4 people, that takes away the time we have to do work out in the plants. And I think this is a step. It's not the main step, because I know there's a lot of leakage, and I know, and I appreciate what Bill said. But I think we got to start somewhere, and if we can free up $35,000-$40,000 a year in manned labor costs, plus freeing up 2-3 people 2 days a month to do other things besides chasing meters, I think we need to start somewhere and expand. But I think if we're going to do our whole system over, we need to have some grants. We need to do a lot of things to do it right. I mean, we can't do that, and I think, a good example was my meter, and mine's a pretty good meter. It's been put in 2011. And when the men went over there and read my meter one day, and they said, "You got a problem," and we checked it, and the problem was my water bill was 3-4 times higher. But mine was working every month, so I could tell it was higher because it was a leak. A lot of these houses probably have a meter that is probably wrong for, like he said, they're usually good for 20 years. Well, some of these areas, the meters are there for 40 years. So they may be getting free water. We have no idea. But we got to start somewhere, and I think we save up some manpower by starting somewhere and then moving forward, and then we have to look at the grants and how we're going to do our system, because, you start turning up our water system, it's going to cost a lot of money. And we got to find a source for water.
Could I add a little bit to that? The thing is it's like anything. It's like when Pueblo came down here and says, well, we're going to give you A1 money, but what is your buy-in? What is your buy-in? Well, what do you mean? Everybody wants, when it comes to writing the grant or anything like that, is what are you willing to put up to get this money? Whereas if we turn around and we start that first step, say as meters, because we do need them. Everybody already said that on this board, that they are needed. Even Mr. Willard, Alice said, they are needed, right? Everybody said that. No, but I'm saying they are needed just in the aspect of we got to move up in society now. Get into technology age. That's showing that first step of good effort. Hey, we invested $400,000 in meters because we thought it was a leak. Now when it goes to going for that grant, we've invested that already. Now we need some help because we're using our money to do this, but we're running out of money to find the main problem, if there is any more problems in our system. And you're more willing, those people are more willing to give you that money to do it. Whereas if you don't do anything, and if you do things on a patch job system, in a sense, I understand your logic, Bob, of putting a meter, but a water system is totally different. It's a loop system. You want that water coming in one way, going out another way, and most of it's all tied together. So to actually get a good reading on everything, you'd have to have a meter at every intersection, every T, to isolate it as to the area that it's leaking. And that's my concern. And if you did that, you think of how many intersections we have in Colorado City, wherever those lines branch off to another one, you'd have to have a meter there, seriously. And you're looking at, okay, a minimum of $8,000 just for your meter. Now, put in the manpower that goes with it, which I know we're paying guys to do this, but they're guys to do other things too. That we have jetting to do, we have sewer lines, that we have issues that are coming up on a daily basis.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak for just a moment.
That's what I'm saying is it's all wrapped together. It's something that we got to show a start of doing something.
Okay. Bob?
I would like to go back to something that Harry just said. He said we need to do something, we've got no source. We have the source. We're squirting it in the prairie. We have the source. We have 50%, 100% more water than we're using because we don't want to take the time to find the leaks. We won't spend money on meters. We've got to find leaks. The one thing I ran on was water source and quality. Quality, these guys have gotten under control really well. We may have an issue from time to time, but they're working on it hard. New filters, chemicals, everything. They're working on it. But we've done nothing for source. Now, we can't go up the mountain and make it snow. But we've got 100% more water if we'll stop the leaks.
Okay. Mr. Chairman? Yes, sir. And Greg, I want to know.
Along the line of source, that's correct. We have plenty for it. Mr. Ellis mentioned infrastructure, that we need to start over. Well, I look at replacing meters as infrastructure starting over. We have to start someplace with replacing this infrastructure that is broken. So we need, if we go out and replace all our meters, we are upgrading our infrastructure. That is a start to upgrading our infrastructure. That also gives us a basis to where we have a fixed amount that we can control, or that we can measure about where the water is going. At that point, then I think it's imperative that we as a board and as a community get really serious about finding the leaks. But we have to have a way to measure how much is going down this street into this house. And if we have a bad meter or a meter that we can't trust, not necessarily bad, but a meter that we can't trust going into this house, regardless of how we measure it up here, we don't know if it's a meter problem or a leak problem. We need to find this low-hanging fruit of upgrading our infrastructure to the point that then we can go after the leaks. And man, we better go after those leaks if we replace the meters.
Mr. Chairman? Greg, would you share what you're saying?
Well, I agree that I think we need to replace the meters. However, I think we've gotten so caught up in the fact that all we're going to do is replace the meters, and I think that is such a bad area to start. Okay, I think we need to hit this. We can walk, talk, and chew gum all at the same time. So what I think anyway is that yes, I think we should start replacing the meters. That is upgrading the infrastructure. However, I also agree with Mr. Ellis, 10,000%, that we should immediately start coming up with a plan, okay, to replace, not repair, but replace all the water line in Colorado City. This may take 20, 30 years to do, okay? It may not be something that, but we gotta have the plan and we gotta start executing.
And that's it. It isn't written on paper. Maybe I should write it on paper for you guys exactly. This is part of that 5-year plan of, this is our first step. Let's do our meters. My next step is, okay, the leak test. And we do it. Now if we find those areas that it is leaking, okay, Now, how far do we need to replace that main line? Is it from valve to valve? But that's where that starts. We dig up the leak, we see what it is. If it's ductile iron that is for 500 feet, hey, let's take it out, let's replace it, because we know once ductile iron starts to rust, it's going to just fissure all the way through it. So there's no use of just replacing that portion of it.
Yeah, I'd like to try to clarify my position here a little bit. There's certain things that I see being done. Yes, we need new meters. The sequence and what I see happening is not really, I think, beneficial to what we're doing, what you're trying to do. And as far as reading the meters and so forth, there's I know Donnie's going to get upset, but Postal Service only has one guy per truck, not three. And there's a reason for that, and if you can study the efficiency books and you can find out why. So there's money can be cut there. That could also be outsourced. You have 1,000 meters. If it takes, I forget what it was, 100 hours to read 1,000 meters, I don't know. I think that's a little high. But there's ways that we can cut money, cut costs as we go. And the other thing, just what I was trying to make is changing your meters is not going to generate what you keep thinking it's going to generate from all the literature I've read. It may generate an additional 10%, but on systems like ours, 70 to 75% of the loss is in the lines, not in going into the homes and your meters misreading. The other thing is we tested 6 meters. And when you tested those 6 meters, you had one that was outside overcharging, one that was outside undercharging, and when you put them all 6 together, they were right on the money. So from those 6 meters, if that is it's too small a sample to make a decision on, but that seems to be the sample that the decision was made on. If you take that number, you're not going to see any increase in revenue to do the other things you're wanting to do. So if you're wanting to start with the meters, what I'm trying to say is don't expect to have more money to do the other things, because I don't think it's going to come.
So you want the guys to walk the streets until they can find these leaks?
Pardon me?
You want the guys to walk the streets until they find the leaks?
Okay. No, sir.
What do you want me to call
No,
there's a lot of
Larry's waiting to talk. Larry?
Yeah, my wife and I took a course in grant writing, and I'm not a grant writer, although we've had the course. One thing they teach you in there is that no donor wants to get involved in supplying money for operating expense. Operating expense is looking for a leak. Because if you do that, you're enabling a situation where if you stop donating money, it's going to collapse. Because you can't afford to do it. What they're interested in is capital investment and helping some new enterprise go, but it's all investment into something that is going to give a positive result. That's what Jim was talking about when they said you've got to do an investment. Because if you're going to make an investment in meters, it shows there's community buy-in into the problem. You're willing to put in what you can, but you're short. And if you're going to do something that's permanent, you'll get a donor.
No, I'm gonna say what I think. Then I'll call him. Since everybody else has had a chance. See, I think we're all talking about the same thing. For me, my opinion is that the meters are a beginning. I have heard the same thing that both Larry and Jim mentioned. At some point, when we need the really big money, which we're probably at that point, they're going to say, what do you have to put into the pot? I believe that, as Neil said, when we're talking infrastructure, the meters are part of the infrastructure too. They're as old as the pipes in some cases, some not so much. They've been changed. And as Bill said, I totally agree we need a plan to overhaul the system. And yes, if you have a plan, I would like to see it in writing soon. To me, the usage of labor to read the meters, whether it takes one guy in a truck or 2 men in a truck or whatever, is immaterial. With the new meters, we will have people to dedicate to other things more aptly. The one thing, and I'm just sharing this because this is a discussion for another day, I'm not sure spending $200,000 on a leak test is of any value, because it sounds to me like the entire infrastructure is leaking, and they're going to say, okay, you have 15,212 leaks. Can we have our money, please? At that point, we need to have a plan in place through grants, through bake sales, through whatever, to start replacing sections of the infrastructure. And no board, to my knowledge, has ever had that kind of plan. And if you have the basic of that, we need to do that. But I do think the meters are a good start. It is a first step in a long-term, expensive process. And we have to be able to say to the government entities and the people who want to give money to little communities that we've already spent this much money.
We're doing what we can.
We're doing what we can.
With what we
And
have.
whether it be 5%, 2%, 10%, whatever revenue you gain, you can ear tag that money to go towards your leak survey or whatever. Grant, right?
And Bill, I agree with you. It's not going to be in the sense of significant the amount we save from the meters. I'm looking at it more as the meters are also continuing to deteriorate. It's something we can do immediately that's going to last 20 years while we get in place a long-term plan. Because what were we talking total borrowing when we're all done?
900,000.
Okay, how much actual pipes could we replace for $900,000?
Probably $86 a foot for 8-inch line.
Yeah, plus everything else that goes along with that.
And that's,
So I think, for me, the meters are a good start. I would definitely encourage you to make that plan as quick as possible and present it to us, and get busy.
With that first round of money, with the 160,000, we're also going to set up a GIS system where I've got a company that will come in for $3,500, plot Colorado City, valves, hydrants, meters, all of that, put it within a map that is digital, that everybody will have on their phone. So that's part of that too, part of that first package, because that's going to help in that next step after we do put in meters, that okay, here's a digitalized deal for our leak detectors, which is going to cut that cost down too. Because everything will be GPS mapped out as to where it is and where it's located. So,
Yes, sir. We've done nothing to address source. Now, everybody knows we need some meters, but we have to have source. Now, for the same money that he's wanting right now, we can put that well back online that's been off for years. That's an immediate source, because nobody's wanted to spend money to fix the well. It's not just this board, it's previous boards. How long has that well been offline?
As long as I've worked.
You see?
So how does that help with
Source.
losing water?
So
If you had to put the last number of years, you have to put people on water restrictions. Even though you're losing it, you can't pull any more off the mountain.
But that's just shoving more water into leaky pipes.
No, they're leaking the same. We've done nothing to fix those leaks. We're running out of water because we don't have any more.
Well, we have to fix our infrastructure. We
Yeah,
have to get out.
we do.
So if you.
But
if you
putting a
fix the
meter
infrastructure,
in
you
will
won't
not
need the money.
save a single piece of source.
So Harry, were you going to make a motion?
We have
the discussion.
we have no motion on the table.
I make a motion that we, I make a motion that we, approve a $290,000 out of the,
Purchase order.
purchase order to make available to, upgrade the meters and, other equipment, software that goes with, upgrading our meters.
But all we need is the 160 out of it at this time.
Yeah, well, they'll take 160 out of the 290, but the PO will be for 290, so we don't have to come back to the board to take that money out.
Yeah, the PO is essentially the meter companies, we're committing to them, saying we're committing over a 3-phase program,
Okay.
we'll spend the 290, but they're only gonna bill as we bring meters in.
And it's at the price of the meter.
Yeah, we're
So
locking
if the
in the
meters
lower
go
price.
up, they still sell them to us.
So, cutting through all of that, what I have is a motion on the floor to allocate $290,000 PO to the first phase of the meter project and secure the loan. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I have a question, I guess, as far as discussion. Now, this 900,000, is there any danger whatsoever that we won't get that loan?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Everything seems to be going along smoothly.
There has been no hiccups or anything with it.
Thank you.
I don't know if the debt ratio is,
Which they weren't really concerned with it, but they're concerned. But other than that, I don't think our debt ratio, we're still at a 1.25 or somewhere in there.
So if we make this commitment on this PO, we're not gonna get in trouble by 2 weeks from now finding out that we don't have a match.
not
I
that I'm
don't
aware of.
think we would make this commitment until, we would not write the PO until the financing is in place.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because then we're legally obligated to do that.
Yes.
So it gives you the directive to do that when we get the monies. Okay.
Any other discussion? Thoughts, comments?
I call the question.
I ask for a division of the house.
All right, Harry?
Yes.
Bob?
No.
Greg?
Yes.
Neil? Yes. Chair votes yes. Motion carries.
Okay, under new business, like I stated, I just needed in our order of rank that if the chairman isn't here, our secretary is our vice chair. Our secretary becomes treasurer,
No, treasurer becomes secretary.
so that way it is clear within our bylaws that that's how it is. Because when it comes down to signing of the paper, if Terry can't make it, I know maybe Harry might be here, or I'll catch Greg, I need that chain to.
You're needing a secretary or a treasurer?
Well, they said assistant secretary or a vice chair.
Well, we have a vice chair.
Yeah.
I would make a motion or I would nominate Neil as the position needed.
As assistant secretary?
What to fill Harry, if Harry's got to fill mine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we have a motion on the floor to promote Neil. to assistant secretary. I have a second. Any further discussion with the exception of Neil? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hey, they got your back, buddy. Just like this.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Well, it was quick to make
I-
that motion.
Are we on new business?
Yeah.
No, we're still on old, aren't we?
No, we moved to.
You moved to new business.
Well, I've had old, I've been waiting. for
Oh,
old.
okay, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I jumped ahead.
We can back up.
But it was really been under old business anyway, too. Yeah.
Okay. Before I get into the old business, I have a question of order. I'm seeing a letter in my packet requesting permission or something, that wasn't on the agenda. Is that going to be under new business?
Correspondence. It's under correspondence.
You're gonna put that one under correspondence
was-
because it's asking for action.
Well, it was correspondence to me as
Thank
to what the board asked.
Thank you.
I said, all I can do is put it in front of the board as correspondence.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of things in old business that needs to be touched upon. There's not much actionable here. I did have a discussion with James on some of these. I am still attempting to get letters, the management letters from auditors. I have asked Jim to prove or find response that the proper request has been made. He doesn't have it at this time. He's going to look into that to see why we haven't gotten anything.
Okay.
I do have one that needs action on.
Is it still old?
Yeah, it's still old business. These are all old here. Okay. One of the issues that's been ongoing for a year or so now is the Frank Pausick property that's encroaching upon the metro right of way. I'm told by James that it has been settled by the county, but I had asked for action a year ago. I would now bring it back to the board and ask that the board send a demand letter to Mr. Pausick to return the property in original condition.
What did Pueblo County do, just to give us a little background?
Okay, what happened is, I guess he had talked to the road and bridge guys, and they said the only other option he had was to vacate the street. So that's what he did, is he tried to go into a street vacation through the county to get that done. It went through their planning and zoning or their regulations on that. They voted it down to go to the commissioners. It still went to the commissioners. I went into the commissioners and explained what went on through both meetings, and they voted it down. So now it is at the point where there is no other alternative for him, that the covenants and our road is there, and that's in our right of way is there. So it's up to him now either to take it down, or we go in and take it down and charge him to do it. So it's how long of a time period do you want to give him to remove it? Those are some of the things that you need to have me put within that letter, that he has 45 days, 60 days to do it, however you want to do it.
Well, when the county sends you a letter, it's 30 days generally. Sometimes they'll send you a letter with 45. So figuring on the outside, I know Pueblo County's longest I've ever seen from them is 45 days. I would request that the property be returned to the Metro District in its original condition within 45 days. Now, I can't use the lawyers, but I'm going to ask that the board have the lawyer draft this request after Jim tells them what we want.
Okay. And you want this, are you making this in the form of
Yes,
a motion?
yes.
Okay, so, just a second, Greg, if it's a motion, we have a motion on the floor to notify legal counsel to draft a letter to Frank Pausick, giving him 45 days to return the property in question to original condition.
Mr. Chairman, before we do on this motion, I want to be careful on the name, because I don't know whose name is on that piece of property. I would like to say the property currently identified as Frank Pausick owned.
Good change.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to consider amending that motion. I don't know that the 45 days is, do we have a reason to push it within the next 6 months? I mean,
He's
couldn't we
had
give him
years,
enough-
he's had many, many years.
But couldn't we give him enough time to actually try to make it reasonable? Couldn't we give him 180 days? Just get it done. We need to make sure he gets it done.
Did you ever
We give
see
him
where it
enough time
was?
to do it.
You ever see where it was,
He's
Neil?
in our right of way.
The only thing he has to do very easily, he has some beautiful sandstone there with the tractor. He could use a forklift and lift those rocks out and move it back easily. The only thing you have to break down is these arches that you made out of cement.
Do you think it's worthwhile? Do we need it within 45 days?
We need it to start a time frame because if it goes beyond the 45, we're going to be in court anyhow.
So you're standing by
I'm
your
standing by
motion.
And I'll second his motion.
And I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'd like some discussion, please. Just real quick, can we, because now we're getting into costs to the district. Okay, so my understanding is since he's lost all of his, appeals, okay, and now this is going to start costing us money, should we ask for him to pay these legal fees?
Absolutely, and I'll make that part of the motion. Terry, would you mind reseconding?
I'll second that.
Because he's been asked 1,000,000 times to take care of this.
So please add that to the motion. I'll amend the motion.
And the second is other discussion.
You know, fine with that, and fine with that, if you go out and look at the property when there's no snow, when you look at his pins are missing. And when I looked at the property, because he's gonna put a big swimming pool over there, and he has lines and things, and I don't know, that may be a code violation later, but I think the main thing is right now, we have to get him off the back property line.
Off of our property.
Yes,
The Metro property.
Metro property.
I just had a question for Bob. When you said, you were saying put it back in the original condition, are you gonna require him to take all those rocks and put them back on the green belt where he got them from?
That's a good question, because Bill and I watched this happen many years ago. And those rocks, those sandstones the area talked about were removed from the park.
Can we reasonably prove this?
I am my eyewitness.
Oh, we both watched it. But the reason I brought that up, but where's he gonna put the rocks? In the middle of the street? Or are you gonna have to tell him where to put the rocks?
I mean, he has some nice
choose
there.
where he wants.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think at this point, we would just be happy if he moved it off the
Yes.
property, returned back, and if at the end of the day, there's some rocks in the street, here's my,
Donnie will get it.
I'll get some rocks out of the way if we need to go that way. But my inclination is he's probably gonna move those rocks that he spent so much time, he's gonna take them and put them on his property.
Yeah.
Now, the question then becomes, are they his rocks?
That'll
be for you guys.
I'm not concerned about the rocks.
Let's get done before morning. I have a motion on the floor. All in favor of,
And a second.
yes, motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Get more old business.
One of the things that the board had approved previously was to notify the people of the community of covenant enforcement. With the third being appointed, I would suggest that we continue on the water bill. I know it got skipped a few times, but continue to notify the community of covenant enforcement with mild language.
With our last one. The last one.
In other words, Bob's not.
The last one we did was in August, and we put out a flyer in there on the back stating that covenants is coming soon, and that,
Get all your old cars.
Like a coming attraction.
Coming soon to a CCMD meeting near you.
So, okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Thank you. That's enough old business.
Okay, just one any new business?
Just one real quick thing.
I've got
Sorry.
a real quick thing.
Okay.
Two real quick.
Two real quick things. I brought this up to you a while back, and please don't take this the wrong way, okay? I think that we should, maybe on the next agenda, because I really don't want to discuss it tonight, but on the next agenda in the study session, I would like to discuss performance reviews, so that, because that way the board and the city manager are all on the same page.
I think that's an awesome idea.
You know, maybe make it semi-annual. But anyway, if we can put that on the next agenda so we can discuss it, that would be awesome.
And then, James, I know you already did a little digging on this, but I would like to, James gave us a copy of the current, what the regulations and rules say about company vehicles.
This is just one part of what that policy.
But I'd like to put that on the next study session. And I have the utmost faith and confidence in the people who work for the Metro District. Well, Karen's a little iffy, but I do know how much perception is part of how the community views the Metro District. So I just want to take a look at what we're doing with Colorado City property and see if it meets the right criteria from the perception standpoint. Any other new business? Correspondence.
I got a letter here from Pearl County Board of County Commissioners on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners. This letter is to inform you that the Colorado City Metropolitan District has been awarded $120,000 Preble County Conservative Grant Trust Fund for calendar year 2020. The completed contract will be reviewed under separate cover for your signature. No award payments will be issued until the contract is signed by all parties. I look forward to working with you 2020. If you have any questions, let me know. My contact information is. What this is I put in last July for 20 new golf carts, a rough mower, and also a greens mower for the golf course. And that's what it came out with. We estimated a little high on the golf carts, and with what we can trade in, we might be able to get 20 to 25 golf carts out, 25 to 30 golf carts out of it. Donnie's looking through Sourcewell. I have some people in Denver that I talked to. I know Prim had another one with Yamaha that we're trying to get prices for, whether they be 2015 or 2017 golf carts, which I want them as near as we can, but at a good price.
Sourcewell will be Yamaha.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to check that.
So we can't adjourn to Aruba.
No, we can't use it for
Earmarked
anything
for
else.
other things.
It is earmarked as due to the letter that it is like when we bought the greens mowers and with the CTF funds that we get on that lease side of it, was why it's designated that 16.5 for the golf course was to pay that lease option on those mowers. So this is the full amount. We get the money as we pay as we get the invoice in, we pay it, they pay us.
So is this considered a grant from the county?
Pretty much.
So it doesn't affect our taper since we keep David on grants?
Yes. Okay. Anything else?
Yes.
Okay, I got one other communications. I'm sorry. If you look on the back of it, it says, hello, my name is Jeanette Garman. I have been licensed cosmetologist since 2000. As of January 2020, I will be operating a new mobile business, and I am reaching out to seek the permission to park and conduct business on your property. I will be asking permission for several places and will likely only spend 1 or 2 days a week at each location. Changes Hair Mobile Salon is a mobility bus that has been modified and customized to be a fully functional and self-contained, no need to plug in or access water, hair salon on wheels. Services provided will be cuts, colors, perms, other various hair services. The bus is fully insured for both bus, business, and vehicle. It has been built to pass any building codes, Department of Regulatory Agency codes, and safe vehicle standards. I only need the space to park and work. Everything else is covered. Attached is a form for you to sign that will keep on bus with me. Keep on the bus with me. What she is asking is, she knows that we have SDRA coming for their lunches and older people, and she would like to kind of do times like that where if they call and say, I need a haircut and stuff, that they're already out having lunch. She can get them either before they have lunch or after lunch. She said that she would not use the parking lot when the pool is in operation. It's just at times. She is covered with insurance personally through the business. I said, well, I know that's going to be the first question that the board is going to ask, that if something happens on our property where they fall out of your bus, they're going to be looking at us to sue, not you. And I said, that's one of the things I'm going to have to bring it to the board, let them say, is it all right or not? It is public property. It is taxpayer. I don't know how you want to deal with it. If you've got one, you're going to have to get covered.
Yes, sir. I'd like to speak on this. First off, which business property have you identified for this to happen on?
She wanted it more at the Park and Rec Center.
That's S Properties. Can't run businesses there. So, first off, she's going to have to identify a business property, and the same as our new golf grove found out, there's going to be rent. So you're going to have to identify a business property and then offer some rent.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I have a question. As far as business property, how is that different to the concession property at the rec center?
Concession on what?
At the rec center.
That is,
That's a business property.
well, no, it's not a business property, it's an S property.
Well,
Last time I looked, I'll have to double check that one.
But running a concession there would be the same thing.
Well, the concession may be pushing the limit. I'm not for sure on that because that is part of parks.
But S1
And
is
parks and recs are allowed to have concessions.
I think S1 is allowed to be multi-use.
For parks and for emergency services. That's what S1 is. You can't use S1 for business at all, period.
But if we're dealing with senior citizens,
That doesn't change the zone of the
Well,
property.
what's the perception we're giving out to people that we don't want to help people?
That's not us.
What's the downside of doing it?
Yeah,
We can't override Pueblo County zoning. We have no authority to allow a zoning violation.
So what happens if we do?
The violation is then on the metro, not them.
Well, what would be
Cease and
repercussions?
desist and get a lot of problems. There's your 45-day notice right there. And then they can shut everything down on that piece of property if you want us to go down that road.
Maybe we need I don't see.
It's simple enough. Get a business property. Set up on a business property. I've run mobile businesses. It's that simple. You lease from a business property of the proper zone. Mr. Director Collins here can tell you that B1 and B4 are totally different. There's some things you can do and some things you cannot do.
So,
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
okay,
Yeah.
so if she comes in with the same thing as the golf course or here,
Business property and make us a proposal to the lease.
that's all.
What did you do when the post office was there and you had the people there selling their
It's a business property.
fruits and things out there in that parking lot?
That's a business property. He's allowed to lease a section of his business property for other business.
But did he lease that, or did the people just sit there and
Yes,
sell
oh,
stuff?
yes. Believe me, I tried setting up there. He wanted money.
So, no disrespect, no, but I would check. I mean, I don't know if what she can or can't do on an S1, and I'm sure you probably do, but given that that's the situation, my biggest concern is as soon as we open that door, then we have to open it for everyone.
And that's why I suggested a lease.
That way.
Our lease.
Well, if everybody, if we do offer a lease, then we're not gonna get not everybody's gonna come in. We're gonna, if people are coming in, at least they're gonna be, they're coming in there for a legitimate business purpose. They're not gonna pay money to do something.
Right. So I would, Jim, if it were up to me, I would verify what she can and can't do on the swimming pool property, for lack of a better.
Maybe specifically.
And then help her define.
Well, and I know that's why she mentioned,
And make a
because
list.
of SDRA.
Just tell her to define the property and have her go down, let her do the footwork, you go down.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a statement? I think one thing you need to look into, is gonna be your legal responsibilities if you allow this. Jim made the statement, she stepped out of a bus and falls. Even if you have a hold harmless, you have everything else, it will not relieve you of your responsibilities. And I guarantee you, you give me any instance of somebody slipping and falling on your property, and I will find at least 7 arguments of negligence to bring against you.
Yeah, I have concerns about opening it up. But I think we need to not.
But I'm not saying not do or not, I'm just saying be aware of that you're opening that risk for yourself.
Obviously. Thank you. Thank you for enduring the January showing of Gone with the Wind.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.
Does that work for you?
Well, I tell you what.